The Bears are gearing up for a wild card showdown against the Green Bay Packers, and we've got some major storylines heading into Saturday night's game, including a big injury update on Kyler Gordon and some real concerns about the defense and Dennis Allen actually talking about what's holding that defense back. We're talking about all that, plus Ben Johnson saying that this Bears team is turning the page, and the biggest question being, can the Bears defense do the same? Let's get into it all and more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content today, y'all. I want to start off with this update on Kyler Gordon, and it is a much-needed update for the Chicago Bears heading into this playoff matchup. And Ben Johnson said this. There is hope that Kyler Gordon's practice window will be opened up this week, and he's eligible to return from injury reserve for their wild card game against the Packers. They hope to get back at practice and see if he can play on Saturday night. Now, this is major for the Chicago Bears if you can get him back up there, right? Kyler Gordon has missed 14 games this season. So, that's a major one. And when you look at already with C.J. Gardner-Johnson going down, who suffered a concussion in Sunday's loss as well, and, that was the person who came in to replace Kyler Gordon. And, when he was missing some significant time. So if you can get Kyler Gordon back out there on the field for the playoffs, it's going to help the Chicago Bears. Now, of course, with the amount of time that he's missed, it's kind of unreasonable to expect Kyler Gordon to just pop in and just be exactly who he was before. But this defense can use all the shots in the arm it can possibly get, right? And so when you miss 14 games with a multitude of different injuries, the groin issue that had him miss some significant time, that's what put him on IR in week 13. That's a big thing there. It's the second time that Kyler Gordon was placed on IR this season. So the Bears defense has been undoubtedly a weak spot of the team. We're going to talk a little bit about that later on in the episode when we got some comments from Dennis Allen. Jalen Johnson, who missed most of the season with the groin injury himself, he still isn't 100% healthy. He's trying to go through it as best he can. I know some Bears fans are frustrated with Jalen Johnson's performance. Some even saying you got to trade him. Again, like some of y'all just need to stop being so knee-jerky and actually look at the situation for what it is. Jalen is still not healthy, and he's out there trying to compete because he understands what this team was competing and fighting for. And while, undoubtedly he got burnt sometimes in last week's game, Jalen Johnson is still a player that you need out there. And even if you go into the players that are playing behind him, they're probably not going to play any better, right? Deshaun Wright has been a complete liability in terms of coverage, right? He gets the takeaways, and that's great, but Deshaun Wright has not been amazing in coverage at all. And Tyrique Stevenson didn't play a snap on Sunday, which raises some concerns. We're going to talk about that here in a second as well. But when it comes down to Kyler Gordon, if he can get back out there on the football field for the Bears, that's great. If you can get him and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, if you can get him, C.J. to clear the concussion protocol before Saturday, that puts you in a situation where you have some versatile corners again. And, I've always been excited to see what it looks like with having a C.J. and a Kyler Gordon. Kyler's a little bit better in coverage and can handle those quicker wide receivers better than Gardner-Johnson has been able to. So you can still leave Gardner-Johnson out there in some blitz scenarios and stuff like that. Kyler Gordon was shaped up to have an amazing season under Dennis Allen. Well, a versatile season. We'll see what happens as far as the stats, right? But, Dennis Allen was glowing about what Kyler Gordon could do under his system, lining Kyler Gordon up as linebacker sometimes, having him in run blitz, pass blitzing, all that type of thing, dropping him back in coverage at times. And that is an important part schematically of Dennis Allen's system. And unfortunately, Kyler Gordon, who's always kind of missed 2 or 3 games here and there, had his worst injury-riddled season yet in a Chicago Bears uniform. And those are things that, it hurts your team. And you want Kyler Gordon out there. So undoubtedly, if Kyler's able to get back out there on the football field and he's able to play for the Chicago Bears on Saturday, it theoretically helps. Now, again, the rust aspect of it is something you can never really factor into exactly how it's going to look, but that's something that we'll have to wait and see, and hopefully he'll get a chance to work through it on the football field and that's what the Bears are going to have to do. So Kyler, this defense needs every bit of the help it can get, especially if you can with Kyler's ability to run blitz as well, because unfortunately this Bears team, it just has not handled the run well. It has not handled, it has not gotten the pass rush going any type of consistent way. And we just have never really seen the defense that we expected coming into the season, between Kyler missing time, Jalen missing time, Austin Booker missing time, TJ Edwards missing time, Tremaine Edmonds missing time. Like you just go through all of what we've missed this season. And not to say that every team doesn't have his injuries, but like we've never really gotten to see exactly what the view and how Dennis Allen had these pieces specifically working together. And that's because of injury. And so, to get closer to health for the playoffs, that's going to be a really big thing. And we'll see if that can work out. Now, I talked a little bit about Tyrique Stevenson, right? And I want to, just because we're talking about corners, I want to piggyback off this. I was going to wait to have this as the last topic. But Tyrique Stevenson didn't play at all in Sunday's game. And that raised, of course, some questions about it. Tyrique Stevenson has 1 year left remaining on his rookie scale deal. So 1 year before the Bears have to make a decision on what they want to do with Tyrique Stevenson long term. Now, Tyrique has been somebody that's fluctuated in and out of looking good, looking, solid. He's never been an every down cornerback too. That was split between him and Terrell. And then with Jalen out, Tyrique got thrust into the CB1 role that he was never meant to be in, and he hasn't performed well in. Now, when you look at, according to Pro Football Focus, Jalen Johnson, Deshaun Wright, C.J. Gardner-Johnson each gave up quite a bit of receptions that they did not play well at all. But the fact that Tyrique Stevenson, who didn't have a single injury, didn't get a single snap, I think says a lot for it. And you have to ask a question on why didn't Tyrique get any play in one of the biggest games of the season? Why are you getting completely cooked defensively in that secondary? And Ben Johnson addressed it on his media availability and said this: we felt good at where Wright and Shoney and Jalen Johnson were, and we wanted those two guys to take the bulk of the snaps. So when you look at it, Jalen Johnson played 72 snaps in the loss. It's his most snaps that he's played all season long. And so that then also, that makes some sense. You want Jalen Johnson out there, especially before the playoffs. But then when you look at as well in the Niners, right? Deshaun Wright in that game against the Niners, Deshaun Wright gave up 6 receptions on 7 targets for 101 yards. So, there's definitely some issues going on here with the Chicago Bears corners. There's just no doubt about that. Deshaun Wright struggling. Jalen Johnson isn't fully healthy. C.J. Gardner-Johnson may be out with a concussion. We'll see what happens. And Kyler Gordon is maybe opening his practice window, but we don't know for sure if he's going to play or not. And so those are the things that we're looking at right now. You look at Tyrique Stevenson, who was drafted 56 overall in 2023. It raises some questions on what the future is going to be for Tyrique Stevenson. I, at the start of the season, was somebody who defended Tyrique because, I looked at the analytics, I looked at what was happening, looked at his role, and I'm like, listen, Tyrique he's not amazing, but he's not terrible either. Tyrique hasn't been great this season by any stretch of the imagination. He just has not been. And when you already are struggling as a defense, it's going to leave some things out for you as far as the expectation. So, when you're already playing bad as a defense, which the Bears have been doing, it's you need players who are going to perform at a certain level. And Tyrique Stevenson just has not done that. He's not played that well in those time periods. And so now we got to look at it and say, all right, what's going to happen with Tyrique Stevenson? What's next up for him in his career? Now, he has another year left on his deal, and there's going to be some time that he's going to have to be able to look better. I don't think the Bears are going to cut him. I want to be clear there. I don't think they're going to cut him, but I do think the Bears are going to, maybe have, or you got Zay Frazier, you still got Terrell Smith there. You got those guys who could end up surpassing him when you look at it. And if that's what happens, that's on Tyrique. That's 100% on Tyrique Stevenson if he's not getting there and getting what he needs to do and doing what he needs to do to succeed. So we'll see what happens with Tyrique Stevenson. Again, I look at him and I say that this is a player that, you look at his defensive grades each week. Against Minnesota to start off the season, 69. Against Detroit in week 2, 29. Then he put it together for a few weeks. 79 against .8 PFF grade against the Dallas Cowboys. 93.3 against the Raiders. 64 against the Commanders. 73 against the Saints. And then he dropped back off. 26 against the Bengals. 51 against the Giants. Went back up to 72 against the Minnesota Vikings, but then 54, 66, and then 71 and 75 in the last 2 games that he's played at. So it's one of those seasons, and he's actually having his best PFF grade of his career this season, but that just goes to show why PFF grades, and even though sometimes those advanced things aren't everything, Tyrique needs to be better. Now, I do think that Tyrique has shown himself to be decent in coverage, but at this point now, under a different coaching standard and a team now that's in a much different place, because now this isn't the Bears team that's just happy with getting to the playoffs. This are happy with winning some games. This is a playoff team. This is a legitimate contender that the Bears are trying to build here. And that usually then leaves out some players that their performance may have gotten ignored in some other cases. So we'll see what happens with Tyrique Stevenson, but it is something to watch, especially going into this offseason with all the decisions that the Bears have to make. We'll see what happens there. But with that said, I want to now get into the comments for Ben Johnson, right? Ben Johnson talked about turning the page. And great quote, always going to get great quotes from Ben Johnson, where he said this, that we're quickly turning the page here. Everyone is disappointed. I appreciate, like I said, their effort. Some teams, they rest their starters. We don't. We play football. We felt like it was really important that we were playing our best ball here today, and we didn't get that job done. We're quickly turning that page, and now we've got a home game coming up, and there's a way to win this game, this next game, and that's what we're going to be solely focused on. I love hearing Ben Johnson talk because he says the right things. When you look at it, for a Bears franchise that has not made the playoffs since 2020 and has not won the NFC North since 2018 before that, the Bears having a short-term memory and focusing on the now, it makes sense for this team. The question then becomes about how much can you really turn that page and reset with your team. You got some bad juju on you. The last 2 weeks have not been good for the Chicago Bears, especially defensively. And while Ben Johnson is the offensive play caller, the job that he has as the head coach is he has to have his hands. He has to have an understanding of everything that's going on with this team. That's where Matt Eberflus failed a lot at, right? And I'm not saying that I think Ben Johnson's failed at that. I do think Ben Johnson stayed connected in that place, even with his focuses being on offensive play calling, right? So how do the Bears turn the page? And I think it comes down to you have to put up points in every quarter. You have to execute each and every quarter. You have to win the quarter. Win each quarter, and then you win the game. And, you know, I get it that the Bears have been this comeback darling, the Iceman cometh and all that type of stuff. It's great. It's great to have a moniker. It's great to have a style. It's great to have an identity as a team that just refuses to go away. But this team needs to be consistent. This team needs to be methodical. That's what you have to be if you're going to want to win the playoffs. Your trenches, they didn't play too good for you. Not to the level that we've come to expect this season. Can you get better play out of them? Can you get better play out of the running backs? Can you get better performance out of your wide receiver and your quarterback combos, right? That's what you need to do. We've seen Caleb Williams build chemistry with Luther. We've seen Caleb Williams build chemistry with Rome and Colston Loveland, and even sometimes the questionable chemistry with DJ Moore, all that type of stuff. But yet we've won 11 games through that. And each time we've needed somebody to step up, somebody has. A couple of weeks ago it was DJ Moore. Last game it was Colston Loveland. We know it can be Luther Burden. We already know that it can be Luther Burden. We know the chemistry with Rome. You're going to have an offense that you can't settle for just waiting to the second half. This is the playoffs, right? And while that was part of your identity, and like I said, then I appreciate it because I do think that gets you ready for playoff atmosphere type football when you have to dig out. Every possession matters, that you just don't go away, down to the wire, all that type of stuff. It feels like playoff football when you do those things. But the fact of the matter is, man, right now, you have to dig in and you have to come out playing your best football that you've played yet when you take on the Green Bay Packers at home in the playoffs, because it's win or go home. And there are so many people waiting to say that this Bears team this season, these wins were a fluke, right? That's what's waiting for you on the other side of that, is people waiting to tell you that everything you did and you accomplished was a fluke. They're waiting for that. Ben Johnson, you ain't with the Detroit Lions anymore. You are now with the Chicago Bears, and everything that you've done this season, which has been great, believe me, in the offseason, people are going to find ways to doubt it if you just come out here and shit the bed. I'm not saying that everything is all for loss if the Bears can't get a playoff win here. No, it's our first year, and many people did not expect us to be able to get to this point of being the number 2 seed in the NFC and win the NFC North on top of that, right? But you cannot rest on that. But just because you did something that's unexpected, that's great. Now go out there and shock the world, because I tell you what, the Bears beat Green Bay in the playoffs, and if they do it playing more solidly than what they have, and it doesn't have to be another comeback experience, that's going to change some tones here, and that's going to do a little bit more for you. And overall, this city deserves it. This city deserves a playoff win. And I don't say that coming from a place of entitlement. I say that from coming from a place of this is one of the most loyal fan bases in the world, not just even in the game of football, in the world. When you see those thousands of Bears fans that come out and watch you play football when it's cold, we can't feel our fingers, some can't feel your face, right? But the excitement that's there to see the Chicago Bears play football, that was there when the Bears were 7 wins. That was there when the Bears had 3 wins. That's been there for this Chicago Bears team. It is now time to put this all on your back and on your shoulders and go out there and make some shit happen. That's what it's time. It is long overdue. We deserve this. And I think we have a team that's capable. Is the defense great? Is the playoff caliber defense? I'm not crazy enough, and I'm not that much of a homer to say no. To say yes. It's not a playoff caliber defense. But you need players that are going to step up in the right moment. We went to a Super Bowl with a non-playoff caliber offense, right, with Rex Grossman. I'm not saying that I expect that for this Bears team, but I am saying that it's amazing what you can do when you have a group and a unit that is all fighting for the same thing. Let's go out here and fight. Let's get that done. Now, we do have some comments from Dennis Allen in regards to the defense as well and some of what the Lions exposed with the Chicago Bears defense. I'm going to start off with this quote from Dennis Allen, who said this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about last week. We've kind of moved on and we're moving on to Detroit. I'll say this. I don't think I coached well enough last week. I don't think we played well enough last week. I say you learn your lessons, you go back and make corrections that you need to make. Now we move forward and we're getting ready. I appreciate any of the questions about last week, but at the end of the day, I've been through it plenty of times, and so I'm ready to move on. That's it, right? And that's what the Bears need to do. Like, I don't take this as Dennis Allen trying to dodge responsibility. I take this as Dennis Allen being disappointed in his team's performance and his own performance as the defensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears team. That's what I take. And let that disappointment ring loudly. This Bears defense has been trash. It's been god-awful. It's been bad, right? And there's just no doubt about it. This Bears team has not been good. When you look at the 496 total yards given up, at times that we've done it, like we've had too many games, way too many games where we've given up too much. We allow for Jared Goff to throw for 333 yards. That's not good enough. It's just not good enough. Amon-Ra St. Brown cooked us. Every time he got the ball, it was basically a first down for the Detroit Lions, and I got tired of seeing that stupid-ass celebration. I got tired of seeing all of it. That's what happens when your defense doesn't perform, and that's what the Bears have been doing. Yes, the starting cornerback struggled. Yes, our pass rush has been suspect all season long. But the biggest question now here is what does this Bears team look like when they can't create takeaways? And that's something that is a fair and legitimate question about this Bears team. When we are not getting takeaways, we don't stop the run. We don't get a pass rush going. Our secondary isn't playing well right now. We've been picked apart by quarterbacks all throughout the year. The Bengals did it. Jared Goff did it twice. All this type of stuff, right? Jordan Love did it against us. So there's no doubt that I think that the defense can play better. I don't expect them to all of a sudden flip the script and be in the playoffs, one of the best defensives in the playoff. I'm not going to sit here and try to sell you that story. That's not what we do here. But this is, again, another opportunity, like I said about in the last topic. This is an opportunity for the Chicago Bears to step up. You allowed the Detroit Lions to do the damage against you in the first 2 quarters of that game. The damage was already done. The Bears offense tried to come back, but the damage was already done. Now, you only gave up 19 points, and I'll say, again, most of the time when you look at only giving up 19 points to the Detroit Lions, you say that that's a very winnable game. That's why both sides being in synergy is important if you want to win football games, and that's what the Bears are going to have to try to find. But now Dennis Allen is going to have to try to create more with less. We got injuries. Those injuries aren't solving themselves right away. You don't have the roster that you expected, but you got to schematically come up with something to where this team doesn't look like complete ass cheeks, double caked up in the playoffs. That's what you have to avoid. That's the job that Dennis Allen has here now. I've said it all season long. Dennis Allen is as creative of a defensive mind as what Ben Johnson is offensively. I was so happy when we signed Dennis Allen to be our defensive coordinator because I thought I still feel we got us somebody who's going to be able to do some shit with this team. And then there's no doubt that we need to improve the defensive line. There's just no doubt about that. That has to be Ryan Poles' focus this offseason. But Dennis, the time is now. The time is clicking, and this is the time where you got to coach this shit up as much as humanly possible. You have to coach this defense up to give us something on Sunday and more than what we saw. Something on Saturday, more than what we saw last Sunday. And that's what's up for this Bears team to do. And if you get a weapon in Kyler Gordon back, great. But even if you don't, you still got to come up with something. There are no excuses. None in the playoffs. None. You go out there, you win, or you go home. And if you go home, you got to have that long talk with yourself and ask yourself, you don't want to be like Ben Johnson in the last game. Ben Johnson's probably been sitting with that decision going on 4th down ever since he did it. You don't want that. Go out here and put something together. Let's see what this Bears team can do. Let's go out here and get a playoff win. And we're still building up to that. It's playoff week here at Chicago Bears Central. We're hyped. We're amped. We're ready to go. And let's hope that this team is ready to go on Saturday as well, on prime time, undoubtedly. But that's going to wrap it for today's show. The Bears are in the playoffs. The Packers are coming to Soldier Field. And everything that's happening in the regular season, it does not matter anymore. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a review as well if you're on the podcast side. Make sure you guys are following us at Chi Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, and that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.